Okay, so we're going to travel back in time, way back, about 2,400 years, to meet an Athenian historian named Thucydides. Now, you might be thinking, why are we talking about someone from so long ago? Well, because his analysis of war, politics, and, human nature itself is so shockingly modern that it still required reading for generals and world leaders today. Seriously.
Thucydides was totally obsessed with this one central and kind of terrifying question. What happens when all the rules, all the laws, all the customs that hold a society together just vanish? His chronicle of the Great War between Athens and Sparta gives us an unflinching and honestly a pretty disturbing answer.
So to really get Thucydides, you have to understand just how revolutionary the guy was. He wasn't just writing down what happened. No, he was creating a completely new way to think about the past. See, his predecessor, Herodotus, a brilliant historian, don't get me wrong, his histories were full of gods intervening, of myths and legends. Thucydides just swept all of that off the table. He basically said, no, history is shaped by us, by human ambition, by our fears, and by our self-interest. He was looking for human causes, not supernatural ones. A total game changer.
And he knew, right from the very beginning, that the Peloponnesian War was the big one. He set out to create not just a record, but an analytical tool, a history so insightful that he called it a possession for all time. He wasn't just telling a story. He was trying to figure out the fundamental mechanics of power itself.
So, who was this guy? Well, here's the crucial part. He wasn't just some scholar tucked away in a library. He was actually a player in the very game he was analyzing. And funny enough, his biggest professional failure, it turned out to be his greatest asset. Okay, so check this out. In 424 BCE, Thucydides is an Athenian general, but he fails to stop the Spartans from capturing a key city, Amphipolis. And for that failure, he gets exiled for 20 years. Can you imagine? That had to be an absolutely crushing blow. But here's the twist. This is what made his masterpiece possible. Because he was kicked out of Athens, he was free to travel and talk to everyone. As he put it, his exile meant he was present with both parties, especially the Spartans. He had the time and the access to interview people from all sides, to gather real evidence, and to see the war not just as an Athenian, but as a neutral observer. His personal failure gave him the exact perspective history needed. Now, if you want to see his incredible method in action, there is no better example than one of the most harrowing parts of his entire work, his clinical, almost medical account of the Great Plague of Athens. I want you to just picture the scene for a moment. Athens is at war. Its walls are jammed with refugees from the countryside, all living in these cramped, filthy conditions. The Spartan army is right outside the gates, and inside, a terrifying, unknown disease starts to spread like wildfire. The plague killed an estimated 75,000 people. Now, to put that in perspective, that was about a quarter of the city's entire population. 1 in 4 people, gone, including their great leader, Pericles. The city literally became a tomb. And here's where it gets intense. Thucydides actually caught the plague and survived. So he documented its symptoms with the cold precision of a physician. He describes the violent fevers, the red eyes, the bloody tongues, the foul breath, then the coughing, the awful spasms, and finally the ulcers. It's this horrifying step-by-step account of the body's complete and total breakdown. But for Thucydides, the physical disease was only half the story. What truly, truly fascinated him was the social disease, the complete collapse of law, morality, and civilization when it's put under that kind of extreme pressure. This right here is his chilling conclusion. When death is everywhere, and it seems totally random, all the things that normally hold us in check, fear of God, fear of punishment from the law, they just evaporate. So what did that look like in practice? Well, sacred burial rituals were totally abandoned. People started doing what he called shameless sepultures, just tossing their dead relatives onto other families' funeral pyres. A frantic live-for-the-moment hedonism took over. I mean, why save money? Why act honorably? Why bother following the law? Nobody expected to live long enough to face a trial anyway. People just decided to spend quickly and enjoy themselves, seeing their lives and their money as things of a day. And that stark, unflinching look at human nature under duress is exactly why we still read Thucydides. He's not just some ancient historian. He's a timeless political psychologist. And his insights, they go way beyond just one plague or one war.
I mean, his influence has been absolutely immense. The Romans revered him. Political philosophers like Thomas Hobbes built their own ideas right on top of his foundations. And today, his work is required reading at military academies and in international relations programs all over the world. He just forces us to confront these really uncomfortable truths. This famous line, "It's the cold heart of political realism." It also gives us a concept we now call the Thucydides Trap. This idea that when a rising power threatens to overtake a ruling one, war is almost inevitable. It's a framework that people are using right now to analyze tensions between, say, the United States and China. That's how relevant this guy still is.
And all of this leaves us with a final, really provocative question. In his analysis of the plague of the war, Thucydides basically argued that when you strip civilization away, all that's left underneath is fear and self-interest. So, was he just a cynic? Or was he the first person to see humanity with truly, brutally clear eyes? Do you think he got human nature right?